But it's a very different world, right, when the customer can upgrade their hardware and keep running as they were, and they really don't need us unless we're adding value. So that's our take on and I hope I get some hardballs, because there are folks who would say, and I saw this blog post, or maybe it was just a headline in any case, saying basically the open core model is, I think it was the ugly stepchild of open source. And so I don't know. I guess I may fit that description more than I'd like to, but for us, we think it's the right model. We do support a big open source community with about 1 million downloads, this Nexenta OS piece, but we do charge for Nexenta Store itself. But we believe in openness in a lot of other ways. Got a couple more slides just about, the pie chart, which is perhaps an eye chart, but who the heck is using Nexenta Store that is writing us checks? I mean, commercial users. And maybe I have a pointer. And my takeaways are, okay, this is tech firms, and this is actually by dollars, so this is a little bit skewed, because even with a couple thousand commercial deployments, still if you get a couple big ones, which there are some in tech, skews things. Consultants include resellers, so that's a little bit skewed as well. 85% of our dollars happen to go through channel, but some of the resellers buy it for themselves. Universities, I mean, recent pricing changes from Oracle have certainly helped here, right? When 80% goes to 80% off goes to your paid list, now you do get a lot of customers in education. And then what I take away from this is there's not a good pattern. In other words, I mean it's all over the place.
This is the commercial version.
This is commercial only, and we don't have good data on the other right now. So the communications users, we announced, I think this morning, the press hit that included the Korea Telecom relationship. So that will be skewed at the end of the quarter. This may be up here or something, but it's very broad. We have a customer here, I think, from finance. Anyway, it's very broad. I won't belabor the point. So who wants storage today? Everyone wants storage. Who wants open storage? It seems to be extremely broad for those of you who are interested. And then, having said that, again, you can choose your protocol. You can mix and match them. The great thing about not just our unified storage, but ZFS-based unified storage is this unification, is the ability to use other protocols. But yeah, not as much fiber channel as you might expect. A lot of NFS, iSCSI, and CIFS. But this is what percentage of users are using one of these protocols, and it adds up to more than 100. Because they use more than one protocol. Right? So just background data that I thought. And then we're very proud of this, sometimes surprised at it, because we don't do a lot of hand-holding. We're very different than the typical, your product comes tin wrapped and with a person, tin and flesh wrapped. And, somebody shows up and installs your array. We don't do much of that. Our partners do a little, but customer sat is actually extremely high. I guess extremely high would be 4 or 5, but it's over 4 on a 5-point scale. So I went through pretty quickly, in part because Garrett ran long, and there's another session right after this. But what do you guys think about the openness of open storage, whether it's Nexenta's version or another? And do you have any questions before I ask you questions? Top of mind questions that I can answer.
Can you comment? I know we have heard it more from a technology context, but
right.
From a business context. Can you comment on what the future looks like with changes in the Open Solaris business unit within Oracle?
Right.
How does it impact you guys, and how does it impact Nexenta?
Well, there's been probably people better qualified than me, although I certainly have to have an opinion given my job. Talking about that this week or today and yesterday, but we feel very strongly that as long as we're an enterprise class storage company, and our mission's enterprise class storage for everyone, that we have to be able to touch every inch of code, and we always have had to. We're certainly more capable now that our engineering team is 40 or 50 people, and we have the Garrett Diamores of the world who can go there. We think Oracle playing less than nice with OpenSolaris means we have to hire more people, yet more. And the bottom line is a couple $1 million probably in headcount over the next year that maybe we wouldn't have, to be very blunt about it. I mean, that's when I'm looking at dollars and cents. We think Illumos is doing great. We're excited about that. We're going to continue to do, we need a somewhere to contribute back our changes, right? And so, anything, that is 4.0 related that we're fixing or working or enhancing or working with the LSIs of the world to enhance is getting contributed, will be contributed to Illumos going forward. And then, a lot of some of the joint guys are here speaking, and they're a lot of that team, right? There's a lot of very good people who have left Oracle and joined Joyent, and we're very excited about them participating in Illumos as well. From a business model standpoint, again, for the short term, I'm saying, if you look at it strategically, it's a real question that we've put a strategy in place for. We actually had launched Illumos, helped launch Illumos before Oracle did what most people thought they were going to do with Solaris. So we planned ahead a little bit, but from a pure, hey, you're a business right now, or before Oracle did that, and you're happy and fat and happy on OpenSolaris, and then Oracle starts rattling the cage. We got a lot of leads that way, right? Guys who said, maybe OpenSolaris isn't the future for my storage array, and maybe I do want something that also, has a UI. I mean, a lot of these guys, they would never look at the UI, right? They're more concerned about the console and at this point, the support. So, net, it's been actually pretty much a wash for us. I mean, certainly top-line sales, but on the other hand, we are hiring even more aggressively than we were. So, other questions? Yes?
Where are contributions coming to the open part of your model there, to the Nexenta store, to the OS level? Where do the contributions come from? Or do you have to write them all yourself and just contribute them to the open?
So there's two sources. There's the Illumos kernel, right? And so that is us, but it's others, and it started with a pretty good base, we think. And by some metrics, and I'm not really an open source expert, but the takeoff in that, I think there's probably one metric is, how many people are on IRC right now, if you were to go look. There's probably 200, something like that, up from 0 3 months ago, obviously. So we feel pretty good about the level. I feel pretty good about the level of contributions to the kernel piece, but it's an area of investment for us and others, right? And anyway, incidentally, some others that are massively larger, right, than us. I mean, and a lot of that hasn't become fully public, but if you think about who is wedded to Solaris in the enterprise or in the government, and they have a vested stake, some of these guys, in keeping it going, right? You signed a 15-year support contract with Solaris, and now you're getting pulled one way or the other by the proprietary vendor. I mean, that Solaris is controlling, I don't know, missile systems or something like that. You want to keep it open, and you want to keep it live. And so anyway, so we're pretty happy about Illumos. The Nexenta OS side, I didn't go into it very much, but in fact what that is really underneath it is long-term support versions of Ubuntu right now, right? And so who contributes to Ubuntu? I mean, everybody. I mean, it's Linux, basically. So that community is pretty active. Now, really putting the two together, try not to blind anybody with it. Putting the two together itself takes work. And so that community, when we think of the Nexenta OS community, when I think of them, it's the folks who are taking the pieces together and integrating them and then supporting and standing behind that and doing the alphas and all that kind of stuff. That's probably a core of 50 to 100 people. It's a pretty small core that does that. Anyway, the University of Arizona, somebody did the auto build. There's some really cool stuff that they've done for a package auto build that came totally out of the community. We're probably 20% of that. I mean, effectively, our build engine, right, helps that community quite a bit. So, anyway, other questions? No. Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. I know we've got another session coming right after me, and thanks a lot. Appreciate it.